Welcome to another episode of the Living in Tulsa, Oklahoma podcast. I'm with my co-host, Kathy Dimmick.
Yay!
I am so excited about our guest today. We have Davis Robson, Vice President of Development, and Forest Ridge, everything Forest Ridge. We are so excited to have you. And for those of you guys that don't know, Forest Ridge is a master plan community in Broken Arrow, and it has had several accolades. Tell us a little bit about Forest Ridge.
Thank you, Sabrina. So Forest Ridge was the first true master plan community in Oklahoma. So 35 years ago, my father, Joe Robson, founded Forest Ridge with really a lot of different inspirations across the country, but with the end goal of creating a community centered around trail systems and golf to create a lifestyle that surpassed anything else in the region. And in that, I'd say he was incredibly successful. So we've won Parade of Homes for 15 years, 15 out of the 19 years. Mm-hmm. They've done it, only missed it 4 times, which is a pretty good record.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And so really one of the main foundations of Forest Ridge is the fact that all of the 20 neighborhoods that exist now, all the 1,600 homes are connected with green infrastructure. And so what that means is an interconnected network of parks, trails, and fishing lakes that give corridors for nature to walk down, and also really provide a off-street interconnectivity between all the people and residents of Forest Ridge. So it creates a really nice sense of community.
I would love to hear about the Forest Ridge lifestyle. Like, what does the Forest Ridge lifestyle afford you?
So that has actually changed a little bit over the years. So as Forest Ridge has grown and as the club has transitioned, there's really 2 classifications of amenities that are available at Forest Ridge. Mm-hmm. So first are all the parks, trails, fishing lakes that are included in the HOA, that are basically owned by the HOA. And so just by buying a house or a lot in Forest Ridge, you have the right to access. Mm-hmm. There are four of each of those types actually throughout the development. Mm-hmm. So you have 4 parks, 4 fishing lakes, and then over 10 miles of trails that interconnect all the different features. And so those you have access to as soon as you purchase a lot. Your home ownership gives you the ticket to use those amenities. The other amenity out at Forest Ridge is the club. Mm-hmm. And so it has gone through a bit of an evolution in recent years.
It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
It really is.
It was founded as a daily fee course, right? Really centered around golf. It was at the height of really the country club for a day business model. Okay. That has since kind of become obsolete nationally. Mm-hmm. And so we've been looking at pivoting, and one of the ways that we've done that is adding a social membership option, which was something that we really felt the club needed given the master plan community nature, right? You have an entire community of people, but there was no main hub for all of them to get together and connect unless it was an HOA event.
Gotcha.
And so about 5 years ago, we took the swim and tennis center that was built with the golf course 35 years ago. And we offered it first to the HOA just to see if they wanted it and have another amenity. They decided they did not. And so we took it as part of the club and built an 11,000 square foot social clubhouse.
Nice.
And so it actually houses our fitness offerings. So we have a full-size gym, more robust than any other country club around that I've seen. wanted it to be something that wasn't really like a hotel gym or a traditional country club gym, something that you could really go up and get a good workout in, create a healthy lifestyle. Also has a bistro that's included in there where you can have a lot of grab and go options as well as a grill. And so you have some burgers and chicken, really great for the kids during the summer.
We had lunch at that restaurant and we were blown away. We've actually been back twice.
Good.
There's food we crave
There
good. Now.
Good.
So anytime
We
we're
love to
over
hear
there,
that.
we're like, we got to go over to Forest Ridge and get our sandwich.
So is that in the main clubhouse or is that in the social clubhouse?
That's in the
So that's in the main clubhouse.
Main
We
clubhouse.
haven't been to. So I guess we haven't been to the bistro in the
Right.
social clubhouse.
Okay.
So we've got to try that.
yes.
So
Can't
so right now in the summer is when it really picks up because you have the pool and you have all the kids and everybody. In the winter, it's mainly rackets and gym goers. We do have plans to add to that in the future. So really create more of almost a community center out there that kids can go and play at. Looking at a few different options. Possibly some sort of an arcade, some simulators, pool tables upstairs. Just really trying to create that whole family club atmosphere, which is really difficult to do, actually. So if you think about country clubs in general, you think of, a lot of activities for adults and some activities for younger children. There's usually some sort of a child care aspect or some events that are great for younger kids, but you really miss the teenage years or even really anything for kids above age 10. And so that is something that we're really trying to focus on as the club grows. We don't have anything set in stone for that yet, but it is in the plan and we have the space to be able to expand into it.
I love that. You're really thinking outside of the box because I was little and a member of a country club, or my parents were. And if I didn't like golf or tennis, I had nothing to do with the club or except for the summer and swim. So it sounds like you're really creating a lifestyle for the entire family, which is really fabulous. And word on the street, you got some pickleball coming.
That is very true. We're all very excited about this facility coming in. So it's actually funny. So I was a tennis guy growing up. And when we were building this, the clubhouse, pickleball was just starting to really gain traction, right? So, I mean, it was becoming a real thing. And I know it's been around forever, but I had never even heard of it until a few years ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought it was going to disappear. And so we didn't go in and actually build these courts. And I've never stuck my foot in my mouth so bad in my life, except for that one. But we're fixing the error now. And
Nice.
So we are actually under construction with a indoor rackets facility. So pickleball as a whole is really hard to play outside. It's fun. You get a good tan and it's an outdoor activity. But you play with a wiffle ball. So in Oklahoma winds, wiffle ball doesn't really work very, very well outside.
That's a really good point.
So with that in mind, we did want to really take a step and put a priority on our rackets program. And so what we're building right now is an air structure, but it's the top of the line air structure that you can get. It's fully conditioned, so air conditioned, heater. Has smart controls, air locks, the whole thing, so we can get in and clean it. But it will have 4 indoor pickleball courts in phase 1 and 2 indoor tennis courts.
Nice.
And we oversized the bubble so that there was a 20-foot by about 130-foot congregation area. So
nice.
You'll have area with couches that you can sit down, you can watch people play, hang out, have a drink. And we really think it's gonna add a lot to the offerings of the club.
Absolutely, and very social. It sounds like everything you're doing is to
Trying to bring people
yes,
together.
exactly.
Yes.
I love that. It's all about community. And I love
That's
that.
right.
absolutely.
So you have a big, it seems like you've got a big presence with the rackets and the tennis and all that. Like there's private lessons and all of those things. Like, tell me more about that.
Yes. So that is something that we have really tried to make a priority over the past couple of years. So it was something that we always offered ever since we opened this new facility. And actually, even before that, we had a couple of people running tennis programs out on the courts that were already there. But what we found was that it was great to have the offering, but without an organization that really was leading the programming, you would have to start over every time you switch directors.
Yeah.
And tennis pros in general like to jump around. Just as a rule. It's a thing. And so in order to combat that, we signed an agreement with Cliff Drysdale's Tennis. So they are the largest tennis management company in the world. International company, great guys, gotten to know them really well over the past couple of years. And so they are leading the rackets program out at Forest Ridge. So all the professionals are their employees. They manage it and give us recommendations on how to grow the program. So
That's wonderful.
Great partnership.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So if there's any change in staff, nobody will ever feel it, miss a beat.
That's exactly right.
That's fabulous.
It's super important.
Yes. Yes. Excellent.
Yeah. So let's, so there's events all the time too. So like what kind of events can people expect being part of the social club?
Right. So the events are a huge part of the offering. Just as you said, the entire purpose is to bring people together.
Yes.
And so there's a wide variety, and we try to switch it up every so often so that things don't get stagnant. So just a couple of examples. We have a karaoke night once a month, brings people out. We always have a huge pool opening bash where we'll have face painting for the family. We'll bring in some jump houses and have some crazy games. We have a greased up watermelon game where it's almost like football in the pool. So they put a bunch of grease on it, and you have to run around try to score.
And there's no alcohol involved, I'm sure.
Yes. For the kids, no. But there are
Adult beverages.
There are some adult beverages that are there, and we probably should break it up into a kids and an adult event. But right now, nobody's gotten hurt.
It's just a slippery watermelon.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So we have that. We host sand volleyball tournaments out at the club. We have a sand volleyball court that's out there. So try to get them out. We have tennis and pickleball tournaments as well. There is a luau event that we've done ever since we opened. Love luau's. We use it as kind of our adult pool opening. So you have the back to school bash with the face painting and the watermelon. But then we have another event that's 21 and up, and we bring in a hula group out of Miami. And they come in and do a whole show.
Do they do the roasted pig and everything?
Yes,
nice.
They actually do.
Awesome.
That was the chef almost killed me, but it wasn't a luau.
It's not a luau without
a pig. So we actually did do that. We didn't have it on the spit.
Oh, okay.
But
that's okay.
But we did have the pig with the apple in its mouth. So. Everything we do, we try to make it as fun as we can, and really create an environment where people can come, have fun, get to know each other, and meet their neighbors and fellow members.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
Can we talk about the cost? Like, what does the social membership cost? And I know that, depending on the time of this recording or when you're watching that could change.
Right. So right now it is there's a $2,500 initiation fee, which is incredibly inexpensive.
Yeah.
If you look at comparables for other country clubs, and it is very much an introductory price. So it is part of a transition that we will really be talking more about in the coming months.
Mm-hmm.
And we can come back on here and I can
Yeah.
give you an update once we nail a couple of things down. And the reason I say that is we're going through a management transition
Mm-hmm.
right now. So we had Troon managing the club for a long time, and we really appreciated them. It just wasn't a great fit in the long run. And so right now, as of January 1st, we've made the transition to Bobby Jones Links as the management company. And they are, so far, they're doing an amazing job, but they are only 20 days in. So we do need to give them a little bit of time to get their feet wet and then vet the transition plan that we already had. And then we'll be able to roll it out from there. But we're toying with taking the entire club private.
Okay.
And so with that, there will be a lot of changes to pricing and some other things there. Not necessarily on the monthly, mainly on the initiation side.
And how about a full membership?
So full membership, and so that's the other thing. And so this may be something that we want to release a little bit later, but just to talk through
Absolutely.
is full membership. We're looking at changing membership names also. So right now, what we have is called a premier membership. I don't like the way that sounds, to be honest with you. So what we're looking at doing is changing to full privilege, especially because we have different campuses throughout the community. So full privilege would give you access to everything. So give you the golf, it would give you the social, the rackets, the whole thing. Looking at a second tier, which we don't currently offer, which is a sports membership. So that would be lifestyle plus all the rackets programming. So the indoor tennis, the indoor pickleball, the courts, the gym, the pool, everything from a lifestyle perspective, really. And then the third tier would be the lifestyle, which is just the gym and the social clubhouse, the community house and pool.
Yeah.
You did touch about multiple campuses. Could you talk about that a little bit more about?
Yes. So that is one thing that's a little bit different with us. So typically, even though there's a social area and a golf area, they're usually really close, right next to each other, where you go to the club and you can pretty much walk the distance between. You can still walk it, it's just a little further. So our golf clubhouse is actually about a quarter of a mile away from our social clubhouse. And we did it for a couple of reasons. One, we had the bones there. That was the original site for the swim and tennis center. Two, it's centrally located within the community, so it makes it easier for everybody to get to. And then three, there are some disadvantages to having pool and family area right next to the golf. You just
a little loud.
Some golfers like it really quiet.
Maybe.
Not my friends. Usually when we play, it's really loud. But there is that give and take, and so we found it to be actually really beneficial to have that small degree of separation. But those are really the two campuses. So you have the golf that houses your locker rooms, your golf course, your pro shop and restaurant. And then you have the social, which houses another full bar, the bistro, gym, pool, tennis, and pickleball.
You guys have people teaching classes for the gym, right?
Yes.
Like there's
that's included.
Yoga, like all that. Like what kind of classes do you have?
So that changes a lot, and I wish I had the schedule. The schedule is online, so
you're not going in there working out.
I'm not a huge class person. It's I need to. I need to do yoga. Actually, my flexibility is awful, so it would really help me, but haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah.
But we do have yoga. They do we used to have a Zumba class. I don't know if we still have that or not. Body pump, but it's updated. It's listed on the online, and we also send out schedule every week
Mm-hmm.
to all the members, just to make sure they're up to speed, and it's also listed on the app. So we did. It's actually another point. So we did about a year ago launch our own branded app for the club, and so through that you're able to order food, rent cabanas,
Nice.
buy lessons, everything all in one place, which was a huge boost for just the business in general. It's hard to find time to go to 15 different sites in order to book things, or have to call up to the club, or even just show up to the club in order to book times. Now it's all just right on your phone.
Even tea times?
Yes,
Nice.
even tea times.
Which leads me to, I would love to hear about the golf course, because it's a pretty spectacular golf course.
It's gotten a lot of awards.
Yes, so tell us about that.
It is. We always wanted to be the nicest public course in the area, and we've accomplished that. But now that we're going or toying with going private, we really wanted to see how we measured up against some of the other clubs in town. And so last year we significantly increased our agronomy budget, which is our maintenance budget, essentially. And I would challenge anybody to go out and put our condition, and I'd love to hear the feedback, honestly.
Now, it is a public course now. You've talked about you're toying with the idea of taking it private. If it were a private course, the people that live in Forest Ridge would have to have a membership, or would they have any sort of a grandfathered in type of a scenario, or is that too complicated?
No. So that has actually always been a big misconception within Forest Ridge. So Forest Ridge, the club, has always been owned as a private, separate entity.
Okay.
So buying a home in Forest Ridge does not automatically make you a member of the club. We have gone round and round on whether that was a good idea or not. There's two sides to it. One, it gives people the option, right? So no matter what, they have access to the trails, the ponds, the parks, but it doesn't necessarily lock in everybody to a much higher HOA fee. Because right now you're able to get in and buy, and your HOA dues for all the amenities that you get, if you're not in a private neighborhood with a separate budget, is $425 a year.
Yeah.
Which is
insane.
Crazy. Honestly, I mean, it's really pretty spectacular that you can get everything that you get for that amount of money.
When we talk to people from, other states coming in and they're like, what? Like they're, blown away by those kind of HOA fees being so affordable.
The out-of-state move-ins and relocations are, I mean, it's hard to keep their mouth from just dropping. Whenever you tell them the price of what comes in, but in Oklahoma, because there aren't very many of these around, it's taken a while for them to understand really what they're getting for the money. They don't look at the cost of maintaining everything or of putting it in or doing this. They look more at a comparable other neighborhood HOA due without necessarily comparing everything that they get in exchange.
Right.
So the give and take, and the two sides are, we can offer a less expensive membership option, but still a much, much higher due structure if everybody was a member of the club. But it also limits your choices, and it limits the affordability of the neighborhood if you do it that way.
Right.
So we opted to go the private route, private owned club route, instead of giving it to the HOA. And it's working out. I mean, I'm not sure we'd do it the same way if we had it to do over again. But it is where it is, and it does give residents the option of joining or not.
Right.
And we do find that most people that move in do, at a minimum, join the social.
Now, are there pools outside of the main pool in the different
So there are not.
Okay, so the only way to have access to a pool
Is to
in
join the
Forest
club.
Ridge. Okay, very good.
Yep. And we are toying with that. So that's actually a good segue into kind of some things that are coming down the
Awesome.
pipe.
Why don't you tell me about them?
So we are just now wrapping up the original vision of Forest Ridge. So it was a PUD 66, and it encompassed 1,000 acres. And we are down to the last 2 tracks. And so that gives us an opportunity at this point to plan the future. And we still have a lot of land. It's just a matter of how do we want to usher in kind of the next era of Forest Ridge.
Right.
So there's a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, well, it's almost done and it's over." It's not. We're still gonna develop, and we're still gonna add to the vision and the amazing community that's out there. But it's figuring out what worked in that time period, what didn't, and how we want to affect some changes to make sure that the next generation of Forest Ridge is better than the first. And I mean, it's part of the evolution. You want to learn from the past, and that's what we're trying to do. So we are working through a 1,200 acre expansion of Forest Ridge. It probably will be a sister community, so it'll be a separate community with shared amenities. Is what we're looking at. That'll allow us to change a couple of of just the founding documents that are a bit outdated. And we will still, anytime we've done any polling, the trail system is always our number one amenity,
Right.
even over the golf club. And so we will still keep that anchor throughout the next phase. That's one thing that we know. What form that's going to take is still a little bit up in the air, but we are looking at possibly some off-road trails, utilizing some of the Bentonville guys that have done a lot of those mountain bike trails up there. And so we are really excited about the possibility of that amenity coming to Forest Ridge as well. But we are looking just in general terms at the 1,200 acres, probably an additional 1,100 single family units with a substantial number of mixed use and even a tourism development in there as well. So.
Wow. And so a lot of that is because of the growth that this part of Broken Arrow is seeing.
Yes. So, and honestly, it's land availability. So if you look at the Tulsa metro area, a lot of the municipalities are landlocked except for Broken Arrow. I mean, it's really, this is the direction development is coming.
Right.
There's a lot of draws for that part of town, but even outside of the draws, it's the only place left to grow where you're not landlocked.
Yes.
Right. What are some of the exciting things that are, the draws that are coming like to Broken Arrow that that don't necessarily have to do with Forest Ridge, but that, you're excited about for the area?
So have you heard of the Amphitheater?
Yes.
So the Amphitheater is absolutely
exciting.
amazing. And I can't wait to see it be built. It will be a huge draw for the area, and really excited that City of Broken Arrow was able to secure that venue. It's a game changer. I've never really seen anything like it from an amphitheater standpoint. I need to get up to Colorado Springs and see the one that they just opened. Would love to take a trip up there and see it. But everything I've heard is incredibly exciting. And the proximity to Forest Ridge is really exciting to us.
Yeah.
Because it's about a 5-minute car ride away.
Yes.
Going back to, the houses that you're going to be building, because of that, I mean, obviously there will be a lot of growth in the economy, but what are you looking to as far as like pricing? Like, where do you see those, all over the board, like original? Forest Ridge is?
So
Where's
what
pricing going to be?
what we try to do, and this is across the board, is you want tiers. We don't want it to be just unaffordable only for the super rich people. We just don't. We want it to be something that everybody can experience. And so we're very cognizant of that as we go through these design phases. But prices are going up. I mean, it is.
It just is.
It's just the nature of it. And so there's a couple ways that we're trying to mitigate some of this, and part of it is lot sizes, trying to cut down, do a little bit higher density, and shrink footprints. And we love the trend of golf carts.
Yes.
So love golf cart community just in general, and we want people on both sides to be able to hop in their cart and make it to any of the amenities in Forest Ridge.
Yes.
So we are working on that.
Good.
That's
Good.
actually a question we had. Can people from the neighborhood drive their golf carts to Forest Ridge, to the club, the golf club?
Yes.
That's allowed?
So that is 100% allowed and encouraged.
Yes.
The caveats to that are they do have to be street legal. Right now, the trail system is set up for bikes and pedestrians. So if you get on the trail system, there's a chance you'll mow down some people on bikes
walking around.
or walking around. We don't want that. So right now, the carts do need to be street legal, and that's the road that you'll take to get to the other amenities. The only restriction is at this time you can't use the private golf cart on the course. And the reason for that is strictly control. Honestly, you lose all control of your golf course once you let the private carts out, because you have no way to track and
slow them down,
disable if they get off path. And but I will say we are working on a solution for that. But they would probably need to register that cart with us and install a GPS system that we suggest in order to be able to do that.
Nice. Then you can have a golf cart parade.
Exactly. Well, you can already do it just on the streets, not on the golf
trails.
Yeah, not on the golf cart paths. So
yeah. So you've got super exciting about what is on the horizon. And you guys have constantly been going. So we've got Creekside Villas. Specifically, I want to talk about Creekside Villas. We have 2 houses there right now. You know, it's a gated community. They have that private clubhouse. So super exciting. Like,
amazing
what is do you have a vision for that you can,
So the vision for Creekside Villas was having incredibly close proximity to the golf club.
I think it's right across the street.
Right across the street, we have a chipping green out back, out in the clubhouse where we can get out there and practice anytime.
Oh.
I don't think we have hours, so I better watch that before I say it. I'm gonna get in trouble. They are working on a events committee as well to start setting up events through the HOA. They just have to allocate some funds to that through there before they can start doing it. But yeah, it's supposed to be just a really walkable luxury community with a smaller footprint. I mean that is what the target is to allow people who don't necessarily need all the square footage that they're coming from to be able to have a nice home with a smaller footprint, with nice amenities where they can meet their neighbors, they can go into the clubhouse, watch a game.
The clubhouse takes away the need for all the extra space in your house.
That's exactly
because it
right.
has the media room, it has all of the seating, it has the big backyard, it has all the TVs, it has all of it. So
That's right.
I'm perfectly happy not having to pay for that all the time
Yeah.
to live in it, and it's included, so I can use it whenever I want to. So that's really a phenomenal feature over there in that neighborhood.
That's right.
Yeah, it really is. It's fantastic.
Oh yes. No, it's a fantastic neighborhood, and it really is an amazing clubhouse. You don't get that kind of a clubhouse with that small of a neighborhood ever.
Right.
I mean, it is a spectacular amenity.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exceptional.
I'd be there all the time. Okay, so you're a Broken Arrow boy, born and raised, right? Like,
Yes. Yes, I am guilty.
okay, so what do you love about living in Broken Arrow? Like, for people that know nothing, that are just exploring Tulsa, think that, Oklahoma, Tulsa, the area is just podunk. Like, what do you love about it? What do you think?
So Broken Arrow, so that's changed over the years, sort of my viewpoints around it. So growing up, I loved Broken Arrow because it just felt homey. The best way I can say it is it may have been the fastest or one of the fastest growing cities in the state, but it didn't necessarily feel that way. I mean, we were still going out, and this is probably not something I should say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. But we used to go out, and I mean, we'd take the trucks, and you go off road, and you go find a pasture someplace, and you go through.
Some cows.
And so that was what I loved when I was growing up, right? But what I found as I got older and I started getting involved more in the local government side of things, is that the reason it was one of the fastest growing cities in the state is because of the leadership that they have at the city. It's they really are an innovative group, and they are a pro-development city, which is it sounds weird saying that, honestly, because you would think that the goal of cities is to grow, right? But that is not necessarily the case, depending on the leadership. And Broken Arrow consistently through the years has embraced growth and development and really tried to position themselves as a place to do business.
Yeah.
Right? That's friendly for people to come in and do business. And they are always willing to work to a yes. And that you just don't get in a lot of municipalities. And it's really what I've learned to love about doing developments in Broken Arrow versus doing them elsewhere in the state.
Yeah, I like that. Favorite Broken Arrow restaurant?
Oh,
you're gonna get in trouble.
I am. Yeah, no. I'm gonna say Ranch House.
Okay,
there you go.
Restaurant.
We're pretty fond of it, most definitely.
Yeah,
But if you couldn't pick
there's
that
a
one,
there's a lot of good restaurants in Broken Arrow. Rustic Chop House is amazing. In the Raw, I love sushi.
Yeah.
So in the Raw is always a good choice.
Something that you mentioned, and you've said it quite frequently throughout this podcast, you've mentioned the word friendly. And you talk about it when you talk about Forest Ridge, you talk about when you talk about Broken Arrow, and it sounds like what you're doing inside of Forest Ridge is friendly. Can you talk a little bit more? Because people coming from other states and relocating to Oklahoma, there's a little stereotypical thing going on about Oklahoma, and if we're not quite as cutting edge as everybody else, or we're a little slow, and I don't find that to be the case at all. So could you talk to me a little bit about friendly and the pace?
Yes. So those are good questions.
Thank you.
Actually. So friendly, when I say friendly, so I've lived a few different places in my life, and one thing that you get here that you really don't get anywhere else that I've ever been is people are typically inclined to say hi and introduce themselves to you instead of just shoving past and going about their business. They are willing to help. So if you're coming in and you're starting something new and you have somebody who's been successful or somebody in your same circle, they are a lot more willing to kind of meet with you, talk to you, help you get connected to the right people, even if it's not necessarily them, than it would be elsewhere. So I lived in Boca Raton, Florida for a while. Right after high school, I moved down there. lived in Miami, and yeah, people just aren't approachable.
Yeah.
Down there. You're not walking through. I'm over here at Oklahoma Boy, and so I'm walking down the street, and I'm saying hi to people when you go through, and they look at you like you're nuts, right? Like you got something wrong.
Feel like you got a third eye growing out the top of your head.
Yeah. But just in general, I would say Oklahoma people in general are just friendlier. They're raised that way. They're raised to really treat everyone with kindness. Now there's some exceptions, but I just as a rule.
Something I've noticed too is once people get here, and they may have been uptight before they got here, but it's pretty easy to roll into the Oklahoma lifestyle. And then when you roll into the Oklahoma lifestyle inside of Forest Ridge, where everything just feels good and makes you happy, like how does it get better than that?
That's exactly right, and I would actually agree with you.
That's good.
I've met some people that were a little bit different when they first moved in, and then as it went, as the years rolled on, it does tend to change it a little bit.
Well, and I
rubs
think,
off. Change is a bad word. Rubs off
it does.
is a better way.
Well, I think too when you get out of the rat race, because the cost of living here is lower than it is in other parts of the area, and you're surrounded by such beauty, and then you're surrounded by this amazing country club development of Forest Ridge, you can't help but feel good. Like you can't help but wake up in the morning and not be angry at the world when you have all of this awesomeness that is right inside your doorstep and outside of your doorstep. And I think that's something really unique to Oklahoma. And it may be, I'm sure there are friendly places and happy places and other places. I've been there, but just intrinsically, it's through osmosis. I mean, people get here and they may be high strung, and within a few months, I go back and I'll talk to them, and just the it's like they're breathing. And I love that in Forest Ridge, you're creating so many different things for people to just breathe.
Yeah.
And to just be.
And I feel like the natural aspects help as well. So having more of kind of that green space and that green, the green feel around is helpful in that regard. I feel like it's a lot different than say a New York or Miami where you're going through, and it really is. I mean, you do have the ocean down there. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of relaxed.
That one we can't.
But
we can't make that one.
That one we can't beat. But other than that, just having more of that natural landscape, it's a very relaxing scene, essentially.
And Forest Ridge has created things to do year round. With the new indoor court, and then you have the outdoor courts and golf.
We're working on it.
Well, yes, I mean you're close,
yes,
but it's in the works, and I love that you don't say, okay, we're really the best game in town, and if you want to have a country club, this is it. So we're just gonna stay here because we're the only game in town. You're constantly looking at ways to improve, to grow, to develop. And that's what people want. You know, they don't want to come into a stagnant community. So kudos to you and what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's really awesome.
We try.
Good. Well, you're succeeding.
Yeah. I think that's the way to end.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Thanks
right.
for joining us today.
Thank you guys
that was
so
awesome.
much. Really, really appreciate the time. It was really